Hi everyone, it's Mikael. In this tutorial I will show you 5 exercises to get into vertical stalls. We are getting into stalls. Definitely one of my favorite topics. I know I have a lot of favorites because I love flow arts anyway. This is something I drilled a lot, and I'm gonna definitely give credit back to my teachers. Can be Christian Unger and also Mr. Sebastian Berger. Also the professor is one of the person who works the most around fishtail connected to stores, and is definitely one of the master into this topic, and someone who gave me a lot of the exercise I'm gonna give you right now. So I want to give that credit to him. I ask him permission to also share this kind of knowledge, but so at least you know from where I come from also those exercises, and I will not take full credit for them. And let's start. So just to be clear, in this tutorial I will not show you right now how to go from here to here. What I will explain you is this motion, what we'll call a vertical V-stall. And this is can be a bit tricky to understand on the vertical plane. That's why all the exercises I'm giving you right now, most of them are on the horizontal plane, because it works exactly the same. You will work on all the flexibility and the control you need here without having to struggle with the vertical plane. And if you work on this exercise, you will have a good foundation for the video come right after, which is how to connect it from your backward fishtail to the V-stall. First exercise here, why do we call it the V-stall? So right now, if I'm just not doing it with contact, but normally you will see that the motion we are doing here is only 3 faces basically of kind of a square, okay? But it's become more apparent also here when you go into like the horizontal plane. So it's like if we are putting the piece of paper on the ground, where we are really just creating those 3 faces. But if you now look at what my hand is doing, I'm drawing a V, you see? Outside to inside to outside. So it's really this shape. And this movement is not just like a small shape to just understand, it's exactly what you need to feel those pressure lock with your hand later. So you really need to practice this. And how to practice it? We're gonna simply start with both our hands here. You can place it around your wrist, center point around my belly, and we're gonna only move one side after the other. So here I'm bent on my knee, it's important, and I'm gonna extend to one side. You see the other head didn't move. Then I'm coming back in the middle and extend to the other side and coming back. And here, if you pay attention to what your center do, you are really doing this V shape. Important, I'm always staying outside of my body. As you can see here, the staff is not touching my body. If you get close like this is what your body gonna try to do to cheat. Here we try to stay away as much as we can, especially on the extension. Coming back, extension. Coming back, extension. At the beginning you might not feel so much pressure here, it's normal. Here we are more focusing on understanding the movement we need to do. And slowly, you can, in this exercise, bring your hand a bit more together. Here, what's also important to realize is like I'm isolating one of the heads. Here is this one. So this head is not moving. Like I'm really moving the rest of the stuff, but this one stays on the same place. From the side you can see it more. You see? She stays really pretty much on the same space. And I'm coming back. So this is your first exercise. As a reminder, you start here. So you are bended on your knee. You extend. You see my body is going further away. Bend, extend. And I'm coming back. This is exactly the same shape we will do after with one hand on the vertical plane, but it starts from here. We got that out of the way. We're gonna need to work into feeling those pressure points. So what I want you to do is to simply place your staff around your wrist level here. And new exercise, we can let the V shape at the moment out, is a bit what we do also for when we work on backward fishtail. So I want you to have this angle. You see, like my elbow is basically higher than my wrist level and my finger higher. So here there is this curve. And this is what we create this pressure lock. You see here my knuckles is pressing and my forearm is pressing. I have two pressure points. And this is what will give us the control over the stores. So to start to feel them, you really create this shape I show you, and you move around in space. You can try to reproduce a bit this V, and you will try to find with your hands those places where you can feel, then you have the control over both. This feeling of pressure might last a second half, 2 seconds, then you push it away, you feel it the other side, but you are building control like this. And you can really move around, try to feel it in both sides. If it's falling from time to time, it's okay, but you really want to keep an eye there and feel how you can place and move a bit your hands to feel those two pressure lock. We do not all have the same flexibility here. Don't forget to warm up a little bit with those exercises as well, and try to find a shape for your hand what you feel good with, you know, like also not trying to catch it with your thumb, also maybe avoid this weird pressure sometimes we might do because there's pressure, and maybe just try to have like a hand extended. You see my hand is not at 90 degrees. I wish some people can do it. It's not my case, maybe not yours. But you really want to work on those pressure lock. It's really important. Then you can go to the next exercise. Okay, so now we're gonna put together the last two exercises. So instead of like using two hands for doing the V like we did before, now we're gonna work with one hand. You can still at the beginning use your other hand on top and try to find those pressure lock on each side. And you see it stays the same. I'm extended, bend, and I come back to my middle, going to the outside. And this is really fundamental, and you really want to be sure that the staff is never touching your body. You stay outside and you extend and isolate one of the week. It doesn't need to be completely perfect, but the more you master it here, the more easy it's gonna get when you are on the vertical plane. If your arm gets tired, good, you have actually two arms. You see, for me also, it's not completely perfect, but this exercise is really what helped me master the stores. And so try to really have a feeling for it before you go to the next one. Allow yourself to go step by step by putting your hands first to feel it a bit more, till after you can really feel those pressure lock on both sides. Okay, now you should start to have a feeling for it. If it's not perfect, it's okay, just try to repeat it. I'm gonna show you the next two exercises, and now we are going into the vertical plane. So we're gonna again use the same idea of like having those two hands on it, and we're gonna work first on the inside V stall. What's the inside is this part, you know, like I'm saying, going inside because it's actually going in, when the other side of the V stalls we're going out. So for the moment we are only focusing on this part of the stall. And that's going to be challenging already enough. Remember to be as further away as you can of the body to avoid doing that. If there's your elbow on the way, push further. You do not want that. What we are doing here is then I'm gonna lift my arm up. I can still use this arm to stabilize a bit. And I'm gonna end up in a posture like this. You see, like I am really as close as I can of my wrist. I have a pressure here, round about where there is the arrow, plus I have one against my knuckle. So I have again this two pressure lock, and I try to hold it for as long as I can. Then I come back down, and I try the same thing the other side. And what's important is we always go down on our knees, extended. Go down, extended. You see, like this. Not an easy exercise, but this is what will bring you some control for the next exercise. And you always try to stay as long as you can up. And you see we are again doing this V shape. But right now we are just switching hand, going from one to the other. So it's like only the inside, but from left hand and right hand. Okay, before we just go to the next exercise, as always, when we use those two hands, you can go closer and closer to the middle to increase difficulty and to gain more control also. Because the more you're close to the center, the more you're gonna actually have the feeling of the stall, but the harder it becomes. So that's up to you, your margin of progression here. Now we're gonna start the last part, which is the hardest in my opinion, but the most important to work on is the outside of the V stall. So it's a bit of a strange pressure lock we're gonna need to work here, but absolutely fundamental if we want to master stalls. So here, what we're gonna do is we can start actually, you see the momentum with this hand. For example, here I'm using my left hand to go to my right side. So I'm pushing with my left, but I'm gonna actually try to lock with my arm which is down. And it's a really strange point where it's the knuckle of my index and here. And sometimes to reach it, the best way is actually to step out because you really want to reach further out. So it might look like this. You see? And I try to hold it, I come back down. So again, there's this V shape, but here we are only working on the outside. I'm going back down, going back up. And the closer you will be of the center, the easier it's gonna be. Don't forget that you use first the opposite hand to create a bit of motion to that side, otherwise it's gonna be really difficult to do it without. And you can let go of the other hand. Try to hold it for 1-2 seconds, then coming back. And same rule apply, you want to be aware of your body as much as you can. And that's it. That was for the 5 exercises to get into stalls. If you take time to work on all of this, the next video is gonna be way more simple for you and you will start to already have a good feeling with the stalls. Really, it's not something that are really pleasant, but those exercises are made for you to give you the proper foundation you need. So try to spend 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes on it and you're gonna really be happy of doing that work before. And this is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoy all this little exercise and I'll see you in the next one.